As we dive into this week 4 of the Playbook series, week 4 of the Playbook series, man, I know that you guys saw that question that came across the text thread. And again, man, I love when you guys respond back to it. The question was, why should I follow Jesus? And I wish I could put up some of the responses you guys gave back, but they were so good. They were so good. I love hearing why you follow Jesus. And so, man, I just want you guys to imagine with me. Hang on, let's pause. All right, we do this almost every week. Are you guys ready to lean in? I need some head nods. I need some yeses. Okay, let's go. All right, imagine with me. Imagine you and your friends are planning this. It's really an event, if you really think about it, to go to the football game on Friday night. Okay? I know a lot of you guys go to the football games on Friday nights, and I know the group chat, it's popping off, right? It's all you talk about. It's school that day, right? Everything, right? It's the event, right? If you're a girl, right, you make sure you're all wearing the matching theme outfit for the weeks. Guys, you make sure you don't have matching outfits, right? But it is this big deal that you're going to the football game, that you're all getting together, you're hanging out outside of school, right? It's an event, it's a thing to go to. But in your group chat that day, the worst 5 words comes across your screen. I cannot go anymore. Oh my gosh, I feel the heartbreak in the room. I feel the heartbreak. Man, has that happened to anybody before? You have a friend who texts you, or you're that person who's like, I can't go anymore. Okay, time out. What happens next? Does the group chat look like this? Okay, cool. No, what does the group chat look like? Why? With all the whys, with as many question marks as possible, with all the crying emojis, right? Why? That's not an actual text thread. I just made that myself. I thought it was pretty cool. All right, we all have this deep desire to know why. Why? Man, have you ever asked these questions? Follow me along here, okay? Why does he like me? Why does Coach say that? Why is he like that? Why did that happen? Why does my sister act like that? Why do my parents fight? Why did my grandpa die? Why am I getting bullied? Why? And have you ever asked those questions? We have this deep desire to know why. And I think the reason is, I think we can trace it all the way back to the Garden of Eden. The story of Adam and Eve, where Eve had this question of why? Why doesn't God want me to eat of this fruit? And this curiosity just is inside of her, and she takes the fruit. She has a desire to know the reason for everything, but here's the problem that I've fallen into, and maybe others have fallen into in the past, is when it comes to the reason why you should follow Jesus, we often just skip over it. We often exclaim from the stage, follow Jesus. Or maybe your small group leaders even say on Sunday mornings in your small group, hey, follow Jesus, right? We tell you to follow Jesus, but we don't give you the reason why. But we have this deep desire to know the reason why. This question of why. And I can't help but think about it. Man, as many people are in this room, man, what if one time you heard the reason why you should follow Jesus? And I can't help but think how many more followers of Jesus there would be inside of this room if you just heard the reason why. How many of you can raise your hand, you don't have to comment or anything, you can raise your hand. How many of you have dreams and aspirations maybe for the future? You can raise your hand, you don't have to comment, you don't have to say them out loud. Okay, I love that. You can put your hands down, right? Everyone has some sort of dream or aspiration, right? Some of my biggest dreams were whenever I was in middle school was to play on the varsity baseball team, right? I had to date that one girl, and oh yeah, I wanted to get to college. I wanted to get a good job. I wanted to hopefully marry one day, right? We all have these dreams and aspirations, but I want to convince you tonight that maybe the best thing that you could do in the future or tonight, the best thing that you could do above making the team, above dating that person, above getting into that college, above making your parents happy or living up to their expectations, the biggest thing, the most important thing you could do is to follow Jesus. And I want to convince you that the best thing that you could do is to follow Jesus. So here's what I want us to do tonight. I want us to look at a passage fairly quickly. And then we'll kind of move into some other stuff. But here's the cool thing about Scripture. It doesn't just give us questions for us to ponder. It actually answers the questions for us. And so check this out. In Luke chapter 9, verses 23 through 25, Jesus is speaking to a crowd, and he actually tells the crowd the reason they should follow him. He doesn't just say, hey, follow me. He says the reason why. This is what it says. Then he said to a crowd, Jesus, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross daily, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. Did anyone catch it? Did anyone catch the reason why in there? Jesus says to follow him because your life will be saved. I wanted to point it out to us, right? He gives us the what. If any of you wants to be my follower, what must you do? You must give up your own way, take up your cross daily, and follow me. That's the what. That's what he's challenging these people to do. But he says the why. He gives us the why. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean that your life will be saved if you follow Jesus? I want to take us to Romans chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. It says, for everyone has sinned, and we fall short of God's glorious standard. Yet God, in his grace, freely makes us right in his sight. He did this through Christ Jesus when he freed us from the penalty for our sins. So here's what the verse says. Here's what this passage says. Our debt of sin, it keeps us away from God. Because we have sin in our life, it keeps us away from God. But Jesus, he paid the penalty, he paid the debt, and now we are free to have a relationship with God. Jesus stood in the gap. He paid the price for our sin so that we can have a relationship with God. And we have freedom because of Jesus. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really think that whenever we see this word freed or we hear the word freedom, I don't think we really understand what that means. Be honest with you. Sometimes I don't really understand what this word freedom truly means. So I'm going to kind of put it in an illustration. I hope it makes sense to you guys. So I have a little puppy. His name's Trout. Now, many of you guys have seen him. I've thrown some pictures up here. I should have had a picture of him. So we do this really bad thing to Trout. He has this crate that we put him in every once in a while, and he has to stay in there. I know it's a horrible thing, but whenever trout is inside of his crate, there is no freedom, right? He has this box to stay into. It's literally like a 2 foot by 3 foot, 4 foot box or so. And that's all the area that he has to live in those moments he's in the crate. But whenever he is released from his crate, right, he can go throughout the house, he can go outside. He has all the freedom in the world. And I don't want to just tell you this for this to be a good illustration. I've actually lived this because sin does the exact same thing in our life. This sin inside of us, right, it holds us captive. It doesn't allow us to live in freedom. Whenever I was in high school, I had an immense amount of pride inside of me. And it may not be the kind of pride you're thinking about. Man, I was so proud that what at the time I thought was following Jesus, and no one else around me at the time I thought was. And I would look down on them. I would think, man, I wouldn't be able to see the giftings and the callings God had placed on the people around me's life because I was so proud of who I was and how much I was following Jesus. And because of that pride, it kept me in this cage, and I couldn't see the giftings and callings, and I wasn't able to love the people around me because of that sin. My pride was the cage around my life that didn't let me experience the freedom that was truly loving the people around me. Now, here's what Jesus says about freedom. This is what Jesus says in Matthew 11, verse 28 through 30. It says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And this is freedom. This is freedom. And Jesus says, man, you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders? Hey, I got it. Man, you feel like you can't live up to the expectations someone has placed on you? Hey, I've got it. Man, you don't have to carry it anymore. Jesus says, I will take that burden. I will take that anxiety. I will take that stress. I will take the worry that you are carrying, and I will put it on my shoulders. I think oftentimes as well, we have this false sense of freedom. We have this false sense of freedom because I think sometimes we convince ourselves that we are good, that nothing is wrong, that we have it all together, that we have everything under control. But there's a reason why Jesus says that we can find rest in Him. He knows exactly what we're struggling with. We think that we can hide it sometimes and we can live in this false freedom, but He knows exactly the things that we are holding on to, the exact things that are keeping us captive. Now, whenever I think about this, I think about a lion cub that is born and raised inside of a zoo. I have a picture of a lion cub, super cute. Oh, isn't that so cute? Oh my gosh. I know, it's super all right now, super all. Okay. Here we go. Super cute. This lion cub, right? A lion cub that is born and raised inside of a zoo. Now follow me on this, okay? That lion cub was created to be born in the wild. God gave that lion a specific and unique skill set to go into the wild, to go into the wilderness, to capture its own food, right? To provide for its family, right? It gave it this specific skill set, right? But in the zoo is where it now lives. The lion cub does not know where it truly belongs. The lion cub has this false sense of freedom. And check this out, the longer the lion is in the zoo, the more he believes that's where he is supposed to be. If I can put it back on us just for a second, man, the longer that you tell yourself that you can handle the drama that causes you to question your own beliefs, the longer you'll feel captive. The longer you hold on to that friend that maybe puts you in bad situations, the longer you'll feel captive. The longer that you have that secret sin, right, the more you believe that that's where you are supposed to be. The longer you will have this false sense of freedom. But this is what John 10:10 says. There's the line cup again. That's it, fully grown. I love lines. This is what John 10:10 says. It says, the thief comes only to, I'm going to put this in red, steal and kill and destroy. Not good. But I, Jesus, came that they may have what? Life, and have it abundantly. Man, our spiritual enemy, guys, our spiritual enemy wants us to stay in our crate, wants us to stay in our zoo, wants us to stay in your worry and in your anxiety. But with Jesus, as this verse says, that you can and you will have abundant life. And hear me on this, man, true freedom can only be found in Jesus. True freedom can only be found in Jesus. And so why should you follow Jesus? For freedom. Freedom from trying to act a certain way, freedom from allowing people to influence you, but most importantly, freedom from the sin that keeps us away from God, our Father. But here's the thing. That's only one. This is one reason why you should follow Jesus, why I'm trying to convince you that following Jesus is the best thing that you could ever do, the best decision you could ever make. And I know for every single follower of Jesus out here tonight, you could probably give a different reason. You could probably give a different reason of why you are following Jesus. But here's the thing, guys. Don't take it from me. Don't take it from me. Check out this video where we have some of our leaders sharing why they follow Jesus.
I follow Jesus because I know that I was created on purpose and for a purpose.
I follow Jesus because he is the way, the truth, and the life, and my life is just so much better when I lean on that.
I follow Jesus because he has proven himself to me in many ways. He has healed my body. He has healed people I had the privilege to pray with, and he has given me hope where I shouldn't have had hope. He is the best thing in my life forever.
I follow Jesus because he's my everything.
Follow Jesus because out of everything I've ever been through, I can take heart in John 16:33, knowing that Jesus has overcome the world.
I follow Jesus because of the love of the gospel and the fact that he loved me first.
These little guys come running to me whenever I call their name. That's because they know I am always going to meet all of their needs because they are mine. That's how Jesus is with us, and that's why I follow Jesus.
I follow Jesus because when I walk in his ways according to his word, he has never, ever let me down.
I follow Jesus because nobody loves me like him.
I follow Jesus because his way always has been and always will be better.
I follow Jesus because no one loves me like Jesus.
I follow Jesus because I felt his peace and presence at times that were not humanly possible besides it being God. And I don't want to ever live my life without that peace and presence that only he can give me.
I follow Jesus because I don't always know what's coming in my life, but he knows the end from the beginning. So if I follow him, he will lead me through every obstacle. And he said he would never leave me nor forsake me.
I follow Jesus simply because there's no better life than with Jesus.